Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Bodybuilding Mountain. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about losing your gains and if you should be nervous about it. And I mean, I've talked about this before, but I had somebody in the comments, they said that they had to take a couple weeks off training and they noticed that their bench press went down by 10 or 20 pounds or something like that, and they're totally distraught about it. So I just thought I'd address this. You know, like once you've been training for a long time, you're going to notice that there are times where you took time off and it wasn't necessarily a detriment to your training long-term as much as it might seem so at first. Because at first you lose a lot of glycogen in the muscle. You may lose that pumpy and lumpy look, right? And that's totally normal, but at the same time your body is recovering, which is why some guys take a deload, as far as they take a week or two off and they don't train at all, they don't do anything. Of course their coordination is going to go down during that time. The glycogen retention in the muscle is going to go down, so therefore they're going to lose at first a little bit of size and a little bit of strength. But the fact is that as soon as you get back into training, for 1 week or 2 weeks, that muscle and that strength is going to come back as long as your eating is on point, right? So you don't want to force yourself into being in a rut of always training no matter what's happening, because sometimes you may get the rebound effect. Now, I'm not saying that I did this most of my life on purpose. Like most of the time I was pretty consistent with my training, but I knew a few guys who trained like this who seemed to get a really great result. So what I'm going to say is that there's a couple guys that used to take like 3, 4, 5 months off training and they'd shrink right down, they lose a lot of their muscle, they get weaker and stuff. And then once they got back into the gym, it's almost like their body just had that muscle memory and it just ballooned up out of nowhere. And these were natural guys. We're not talking about guys that were cheating, okay? We're talking about guys who were natural and their muscles just returned right away. And it was like they were better than ever. And it's almost like after a few weeks, you couldn't even tell that they took any time off. And if anything, you would have thought that they were training consistently the entire time. So I'm not saying you're supposed to take long episodes of time off all the time, but once in a while, if you're forced to, it might be the best thing that ever happened to you, right? Because a lot of times there are deeper sort of healings that happen in the body, in the denser tissues, such as ligaments and tendons, bones, you know. Sometimes only through rest itself can those areas heal. And I know for a fact, like if you break a bone, you can't just constantly grind it, right? You can't just go, I'm gonna do some bench press with a broken forearm, right? What's going to happen is that you're going to grind that forearm to death and it's not going to heal. You're not going to heal that broken bone. So it's the same thing with healing the denser tissues. Sometimes they need to be semi-immobilized in order for the healing to happen. And as long as you keep on hitting the gym, that healing never does finish or reach culmination, right? So once in a while, you know, I know everybody out there is programming and they're saying, hey, you know, every 5 weeks you got to take a week off or something like that. I don't agree with that, because I think it's going to be different for each person. But I do agree that there may be a huge benefit to you if you take, 2 weeks to a month off training once in a blue moon and then just get right back into it. You may notice that you rebound back and are better than ever from that. Now, in a weird coincidence of life imitating art, at the time of making this video, I felt perfectly fine. My training was going good. And then wham, I got hit with a stomach virus or stomach flu of some sort or whatever. And at first I thought it was food poisoning, but somebody else that I know that didn't eat the same stuff I was eating also had the same thing. So basically what happened was I was forced to take about 6 days off training, if not 7 days. So as you can see, I just started getting back into training and I look fine. I didn't lose all my gains or whatever. And at the same time, even though I feel weaker at first getting back in the gym to lift the same poundages, I don't really pressure myself so much to have to push and to achieve right away what I was achieving before I got into the gym, because I know, because I've been through this so many times, that everything just comes back whether you push or whether you just ease into it, right? So a lot of my workouts right now that I just started about 3 days ago are just easygoing, glorified warm-ups. Now, I may be doing a little bit heavier with some movements because it just feels right or feels comfortable. But say for instances with the squat, it feels great just to play around with 225 and do sets of 10 or 15 reps for, 5 or 6 sets, right? So I'm just playing around with the weights. I'm not feeling pressure to go back into 400 pounds or 500 pounds for squats or or do, you know, 10 sets of 315 or whatever. I'm just easing myself back into it. So it's almost like I use it as an excuse to start enjoying training again. And the funny thing is that sometimes you find that your muscles really adapt well. Some of the joint pains that you had before, or some of the issues that may have been going on with your body after taking a week or two off because you were forced to, sometimes you end up healing certain areas that just needed some extra time to rejuvenate or recover. So really what I'm trying to say is that there's no reason to panic or to worry that you're not going to get your gains back. It doesn't matter if you get the flu for a bit, or you're down with an injury or something like that. Just ease back into training. Just teach yourself to enjoy the process, and then you're going to notice that a lot of times you may get your gains back faster doing it that way, as opposed to just pushing 100% right away and going right into super intensity type workouts. So yeah, sorry I haven't uploaded for about a week. That's my 2 cents. So anyway, I hope this helps out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the patrons and supporters, and take care for now. Natural Gallant.